Danny Stiles!
Hey, how's
Hi.
it going?
Good.
Haven't seen you in so long.
Years, probably.
Yes, probably years.
Except on Marco Polo.
I love that Marco Polo app.
Love me some Marco Polo. Yes.
It's a good. You can make a solid performance on a Marco Polo.
You really can. And there's no pressure. No pressure.
None. No. Except, yeah, you can even delete it if it goes wrong.
You can?
Yes.
I did not know this.
Yes. Just have to keep your finger on the button long enough. So
Keep your finger on the button.
Mm-mm.
Finger on the button. Hey, so you know what this reminds me of?
Huh.
Really quickly, The Big Show.
It's funny you should mention that because I've been stirring up the idea of doing a little cabaret act again. So hopefully by the time I get back from Europe this summer, I'll have some stuff formulated for that. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Please keep us posted and I will post to all of my thousands of watchers.
I can't even believe I got a spot on this show.
Oh my gosh, I know. You are number 2. Number 2.
Wow. Wait.
You are awesome. Thank you for doing this. Really quickly, Danny and I first met each other at a gig at Disneyland.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Actually, that was the official first Disneyland show that I ever did. Christmas Caroling on Main Street Carolers.
Oh, okay.
I'd actually been hired for Animazement first initially, and I couldn't do the rehearsals because I was still living in Ventura. So like 2.5 hour commute was not going to work for me.
And
no
matter how good the benefits are.
Didn't matter. No. Well,
What?
Until they decide that you don't get them anymore. And then I had also booked a job at the El Capitan Theater to do the pre-show for the Tarzan show.
Yep.
And I was in rehearsals for that. And I was really intimidated by the director, Barnett Ritchie. And she created One Man's Dream and Phantasmic, and she was notoriously hardcore. And I'd never really done a show. And I remember the first day I went into rehearsal and she said, "Oh, pick out a costume." And they were like dancer boy costumes, right? So there was like Chunky Monkey and they were like size 30 waist. And I go up to her and go, "None of these fit me." She goes, "Oh, well then maybe you'll have to start getting on a treadmill." I was like,
oh.
So I go into rehearsals for this whole thing and I just feel like she's like disappointed in everything I do. And she started firing people systematically in that process. And I remember I was just so in my head about choreography and at lunchtime, the stage manager comes up, she goes, "I think Barnett wants to let you go." And I was like, well, so I worked really hard. And by the time that the rehearsal started after lunch, they came to let me know they were letting me go. And I was like, I want to talk to Barnett. So I went up and I talked to her and I was like, I think you should really give me a chance, like just at least to recover from the kind of like mental torment you've been, you know? And she goes, "You know what, Jenny, you just don't have any sparkle."
Oh God. Wait, you don't have sparkle?
I don't have sparkle. That was you just don't have any sparkle. And the worst part about it was I had carpooled with my friend Eleanor that day, and Eleanor didn't get fired. So I had to sit in rehearsal after being let go and watch her put somebody else into my part.
Oh my gosh.
The wonders of theater.
The reality of the business.
Seriously.
Never carpool.
Don't ever carpool.
That's what we learned.
Make your carbon footprint very large.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be in a very uncomfortable situation.
Oh my gosh. Well, so tell us just a little bit more about, if you can, so Disney is kind of where you got started, and I know you did a few things there. Yeah. And kind of how did it evolve for you going all the way to New York?
In college, I was going to try and be a lawyer. So I was getting an English degree.
Wow.
And yeah, exactly. Wow. And I think it was like in my 7th year of college. I
Sure.
was like, oh, I'm never going to graduate with this degree. No, I hadn't been there. I bet I've been there a while. And I remember specifically there was a day I was taking a couple theater classes here and there, and my friend Doug Flandreau comes in. I'm in a directing class and I'm taking notes, vigorously taking notes. And Doug comes in and it just sneaks in behind me and he whispers in my ear, have I missed anything? And I go to turn to look at him and say no, and he had just come from his makeup final. So he looks like Gandalf the Grey, like a wig and eyebrows that are like down here that are connected to his like Fu Manchu mustache and all this old man makeup. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, none of this seems weird to me. Like this feels completely normal to me.
Huh.
And I go, you haven't missed anything. And I go, well, I'm going to go be a theater major. And I went that day and I changed my major.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a true story.
I love that.
I was always sort of on the path of doing that. I wasn't sure how I was going to make it happen. But I started doing like local stuff, Santa Barbara Civic Light Opera. And when I was there, I met a bunch of people that worked for Disney and they said, hey, you should come audition for some Disney stuff. And I had auditioned for Animazement and I got that job and didn't do the rehearsals. And then I got the show, but it just ended up like once I was in, like Brett Simmons, who
yes,
he knew me from the Animazement auditions, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come and audition for Christmas Caroling?" And so I did that, and then that's when you and I met. A bunch of my Florida friends were there.
And you know what's funny? At that point, it seemed to me like you had been performing for years and years and years.
Isn't that crazy? And no, but well, obviously I hadn't gotten quite the grasp on improvisation because
Please do tell everybody. Well, this is my favorite story. It could possibly be my favorite story of all time.
Do you want me to tell it, or do you want you tell? You can we can either like both like tell at the same time, like.
Yeah, we can go back and forth. Okay, I guess I'll start in the way that I remember it, and you might remember it differently. So okay. I was playing that year Nurse Florence.
Yes.
Insert picture if I can find it. And who were you that year?
I don't think I had a special name. I was like the market
butcher.
I remember it was the market on the corner where the Starbucks is now at Disneyland. But it was the big like goods and market. Like you could get candy, you could get a cup of coffee in there. Mm-hmm. I really had like one of the most boring costumes. It was like a little Newsies boy cap and then like an apron.
And I had like the boof hair and the like the old like veiled nurse thing that kept whenever the wind would fly.
The wind would make it fly.
We're like, wait, we're like this. Hold on.
Yes, for the recreations.
All pretty. Silent. Cue the wind.
Like a little red cross. You had a red cross on it.
Yes. So anyway, I was the nurse. You were the market man or whatever.
Yeah. And we were teamed up.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't know if we were engaged, if our characters were engaged that year or not. But anyway, we always pick somebody different to be engaged to. Mm-hmm. But before the parade, we would always go out and entertain the people sitting there on the streets waiting for the parade, right?
Right.
So I was all the way across on the way to the Mad Hatter's shop at the top of Main Street. And you were
like over by the Emporium. Like I was like right out in front of the Emporium. So
that's what I remember.
The whole town hall in between us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And
I was trying my improv skills because we weren't just singing, we were also characters and we were interacting with the guests. So I was like, I'm gonna make a moment out of this. There's this man sleeping on the sidewalk, waiting for the parade. He'd probably been there for hours, right?
He was asleep.
Yeah, because people will park it, right on the street. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know what I can say. I know this is a great joke. Well, And so I called you over. I said, hey, Florence, look over here. We got a what?
Necrophiliac. Of course, you were thinking, and still to this day, I get it mixed up.
That's why I waited for you to tell it, because I wasn't even sure which one I was supposed to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you meant narcoleptic.
Yes.
But
yes, because he was.
You shouted across over little children's heads.
Yeah.
Over the magic of Disney. You shouted across all of Main Street, Nurse Florence! Do you have any medicine for a necrophiliac? We have a necrophiliac here. And you kept saying the word over and over and over again. And we were all too far away from you to stop you. But you could see.
Well, I even think at one point I said, ladies and gentlemen, the Main Street necrophiliac. Like I was going to make him one of the characters. Like he was one of us, clearly. People are taking their children and they're like, ah!
You could see people were just like frozen, like, what is happening?
Yeah, but you eventually, you came over to stop me. You got to me to stop me. And you're like, oh, I don't know if you had your muff at the time, but you got in there like it was like you linked arms, like, oh, Danny, you're like, come with me, and no, hey, like, I'm on a roll here, Karen, I'm on a roll here, like, I got this. I thought that was like making a hysterical bit out of this. You're like, no, you're like trying to drag me away, and I'm like, hey, I got this, I'm on a roll, and you're like, oh, just in my ear, somebody goes, I don't think you're saying what you mean to say. And I'm like, what? You're like, oh, you're saying necrophiliac, and I think you're trying to, and I was like, oh, yeah, and I go, you're like, I think you mean to say narcoleptic. And at like the whiteness that came over my face, I was like, and I think we just left.
Probably. It was left. Break. Yeah.
It was time to just go. It was break. It didn't matter if it really was break. It was break at that moment.
Because what do you do? No.
Yeah.
We've ruined Disneyland for lots.
Yes. And of course, that's a story that lives on in infamy. But yeah, the Main Street.
But it's yours. It's ours. It's our story.
It is. And actually, I think there was a point where somebody was going to tell me that story.
I love that.
And they didn't know it was me. Right. And then I'm like, oh no, that's my story.
This is what I love. This is what I love. I'm like, get to the source of the story and bring that person on and have them tell it the way they remember it. Because it's true. We sit around and we tell stories, and that's what I love. I almost love that more than performing. Don't tell anybody, but but speaking of, can you tell us a couple of your favorite stories from when you were in New York, from when you were in New York?
I mean, there was a time on Broadway. It was a good story too, because I think, like I had mentioned to you earlier, when these kind of things happen to me, I just forget. I try and forget that they ever happened, because I'm so horrified when they happen. Mm-hmm. But things, it's live theater. It's why we like going to see it. It's like we like being part of it, because anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Yep.
It was, I was doing a sister act on Broadway, and I was covering Joey, who's one of the three thugs. And I had actually created this role in Pasadena.
Nice.
So I was really excited to get to do it again, like do the role on Broadway with an audience, hit the laughs, do all the jokes that I like created, but he was a little bit different, because like we had to look like late 70s like Stiles. So they gave me these like long big sideburns, and I had to grow my hair out long, but my hair wasn't long enough. They still would wig me. Okay. So I had this kind of like ginger wig. And there was a big moment in the chase scene where Dolores is running from the thugs, and we go into the convent dressed as nuns, and this flat would come down with like 3 doors. And so it'd be like a dun, 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 slam, whatever. And then the doors would open and they're like, the thugs would be there looking, they shut the door and then the doors would open and it'd be nuns, right? So it's kind of that kind of like a Sesame Street kind of moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had my wig on, my wig cap and my wig, and then we had the habits on top because we were dressed as nuns. Well, I think I'd rehearsed this not very many times at all. Never with the wig and the habit before, that's for sure. So we're doing this chase scene where we like pop our head through the door, look, shut the door, and then we have to take the habit off of our head and let the nuns go in and do their thing, and then we'll come back as the thugs again. Well, I'm got my nervous energy up. Here we are at this moment, whatever. And I go to like do my door, look as the nuns shut the door, and then you have to turn like this so the other actor can go in there and have the door. And it was Patina Miller who's playing Dolores. She's the lead. She got a Tony nomination for this.
Yes.
So I go back, I take my habit off of my head, and Patina's standing at the door, like looking at it, and she looks at me, and then she just looks at me really close, like, what is that? Well, I didn't know, but my wig had completely come off in the habit, and all that was sitting on top of my head was this little cone shape of my wig cap. So and she just starts laughing, and she goes and does her door, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I do my door again, and then I'm completely confused.
Oh, you didn't even know. You didn't know.
No. Oh. No, but then I was like, I got so confused and panicked that like, where's my wig? Where's my wig? I think I went to like go find it or go find the person who'd taken the habit away. So while they're doing this, nobody's supposed to be behind the doors, but the doors are opening and the nuns are looking through, and there I am like running to find my wig. So that was, that was Broadway. That was on Broadway. So those things happen on Broadway too. And I'm sure the people in the audience were like going, what is happening? Like, had no idea.
You're like,
they may not know. This is good. Oh, look at that guy's chasing a lot. He's really working hard to find her.
They're like, ooh, they're showing the mechanics of the show. It's right in your face. Kind of like Aladdin.
Some real insight. Oh my God.
I can't remember if I asked you the question or not. So, Danny.
Uh-huh.
You did a lot at Disney.
I did.
How then did you, I'm grateful for all of my time at Disney.
Me too.
How did you get from there then to New York?
I think it was, I was having a great time at Disney, and I mean, I had a lot of success. I mean, I think at the point where we were being park swings, there was 13 different roles that I had knowledge of, and I still didn't have full-time work. I had 13, and a lot of those I taught myself, like teach yourself the tenor line of an a cappella sextet by just watching and looking at the charts, which is sort of how it was thrown out to us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was just a moment where I was like, I knew I could have a long-running Disneyland career, but I just realized it wasn't what I was like, this isn't what I set out to do. I didn't set out to just work at a theme park, And while I'm grateful for the work, always grateful in the benefits and all that.
Right.
And then the Sister Act audition in Pasadena showed up, and my agent called up and said, or Michael Donovan called up, the casting director, and it was like, this is for Alan Menken. This is a pre-Broadway show. And I thought, why am I going to this? Is a bunch of women, you know what I mean? I'm definitely, there's African-American characters, and I'm not right for any of this stuff. But I didn't know there was the three thugs. And so, and I can't get in trouble for this because I don't work there anymore. But I had a shift. It was a choice between taking a shift at Disney or going to this audition. And that moment of like, do I want to just go get paid or want to go like audition and do a maybe?
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So I just decided that my priorities were what I wanted to have eventually in my career, my goals. And I went to that Sister Act audition, and it was like kind of like knowing that in my mind really empowered me to make put a lot of effort into that Sister Act audition. And I actually changed the song on my way. I sang a song that I'd never sung before, changed it, bought the sheet music on the way to the audition, which I don't recommend anybody does.
I know.
Because
right. Never do that.
It worked out for me, but that one time. And so I went in and I sang Donna Summer's Last Chance, and I just had a great time. And my confidence was like off the chain that day. And they rewrote the character based on me. He was a tall, bald, skinny guy. And then they changed it to like a bigger, like tough guy, you know, and yeah, like that's me, you know. So, but that was it, you know, of doing that run in Pasadena got me connected to Alan Menken and Marguerite Derricks and these people that are in the industry. And you know, Marguerite's the one that got me to come and do Wonderland, which was my Broadway debut. And somebody called me. It was a scam, and it was likely. And so, yeah, so it just sort of introduced me to those people in that community. And I did 3 Broadway shows in a year. Jump from one to the next.
Danny, that's so awesome.
I mean, I got to keep remembering that it was a really awesome thing. It was a big blessing. So, but it was good. I mean, and I would love to go back. I mean, it's this kind of thing I would love to go back. And that community is it's not like it's not like LA where they forget you if you're gone for a while. They still go, where are you? You know what I mean? It's not like I get called in to do anything, but if I showed up in an audition, it would still be people that I knew, you know. So,
it'll be the next chapter.
Hopefully. That'd be
yeah.
good.
I can totally see it. So therefore it shall be.
Okay.
Well, let me see, you said just a little bit about what you're doing now or where people can find you. I know you said you're doing some coaching, so do you want to give a plug for that?
Sure. I'm South Orange County, Costa Mesa, but I've been in the South Orange County area coaching, working for a program called South County Performing Arts. And they've got a Facebook page, they've got a website, but I'm on Danny Stiles on Facebook and Danny Stiles on Instagram. Some of my students can find that. I'm also an adventure guide with Adventures by Disney. So this summer I'll be heading out for 2 months to guide vacationers through the Rhine River and the Danube River. A little performing is required on that as well, but that's sort of where I am. The summers I'm in Europe, and then I'm back here, and then still working on. I think that's the other thing. Like, just keep. It's not a career where you can stop, where you can give up. To make it a career, you've got to keep working on it.
Yeah, and creating stuff for yourself. Like you mentioned, you're working on a cabaret. So keep me up to date, and I will plug that as well.
Yay! Hopefully around like maybe my birthday, like around my 50th birthday. 50.
Wow.
I'll be 50 years old.
I sound 50. Oh my gosh! When's your birthday?
November.
November what?
30th.
November 30th. My 25th anniversary is the 19th.
Oh, no way. Already?
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
That is cuckoo. That is so cuckoo.
All right. I guess we better wrap things up.
Yeah.
I think we covered it all. We got a lot of good stories, and there will be more to come. So
I'll give you mine anytime. If I can think of any more, I'll be like,
please do.
Yeah, I will.
Yes. All right, and just really quick, give a shout out to Allison because she's your biggest fan.
Hey, Allison. I heard good things. I heard you were like, you know more about my career than I do. So there we go.
And she will probably follow right in your footsteps, only the female side, because she's an incredible singer and performer as well. So anyway. All right. I love you, my friend, and thanks for taking the time.
Of course.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
I gotta get a haircut.
Okay. That one that's right over there. So that's one for me.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Karen.